going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody. I'm Eric Pace, Principal, West Bloomfield High School. And tonight we have the full administrative team. I'll let them introduce themselves here briefly.
Good evening,
everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Larkin. I am the assistant principal at the high school that oversees the counseling department.
Sorry about that, Ashley. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jamie Glenn, assistant principal over student relations and attendance.
Good evening, everyone. New assistant principal to West Bloomfield High School. Very nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Stephanie Griffin.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Eric Pierce, the district athletic director.
All right, so we appreciate your time tonight. We know this has been a very unique and interesting start to a school year. We're hoping that through our webinar tonight, we'll be able to answer some of the questions you may still have lingering, and then we'll be able to get you guys ready to start the school year. So we do not have the chat open. We found it to be kind of distracting from the presentation, so we want to make sure that we're able to focus on the information that we're delivering to you, and then hopefully we'll be able to address some of those frequently asked questions that we have. So as you can see, we have our agenda here for this evening. We'll talk about what's new at West Bloomfield for this year. We have a lot of new families as well as some veteran families with us. So what's going to look different from when we had spring virtual learning till now? What do our first 2 days of school look like, tomorrow and Thursday, followed by what we're going to settle into as a weekly.
Okay, it looks like he might be freezing up a little bit, so we are going to continue until we get Mr. Pace back. So you can see the rest of the agenda. We'll talk about the weekly schedule. We'll talk about the difference between synchronous learning and asynchronous learning. We'll talk about what live instruction looks like, what students would do on Wednesdays. I will give some information about student schedules. Eric Pierce will talk about athletics and activities. We'll talk about our Phase 5 return, and then we'll talk about supports that are available to your student if needed. So I apologize for this. Give me 1 second because I have to pull the presentation back up. These are the joys of technology that I know we'll be experiencing, and it's okay. So let me, I'm finding it right now. And here we go. Okay, I do apologize for that. So what is new at WBHS? We are very excited to introduce Canvas, which is a student learning platform. We are still working on linking up Canvas accounts with student accounts. And so we are emailing that information to families very soon. The expectation for our staff members is to not use Canvas this week and possibly the beginning of next week as well. So students don't need to worry if they're not able to log in. We promise that we will get them logged in eventually. And there's nothing that they're going to miss by not having their Canvas account at this point. We're very excited that we built both a rigorous schedule for our students, but also one that's definitely manageable. We reviewed a lot of research, and there is no research out there that says it's good for students, especially teenagers, to sit in front of a screen for 6 hours. So we feel that we are going to deliver very strong instruction within that 15-minute time frame. And we are excited because on those block days, aside from Wednesday, the students will be seeing their teachers live, and they will be getting live daily instruction. Remote learning is going to follow the block scheduling. So students will do some asynchronous assignments following their class periods as well as on Monday. There is daily dedicated time to receive teacher support, which is from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So teachers will be sending out Zoom links, and students can log in and get additional support if they need it. And then finally, attendance, grades, and expectations are going to mirror our traditional school setting, which is definitely different from what happened in the spring, which was sort of an emergency learning plan. I don't think any of us could have predicted that we would be in the situation that we were in. And so, districts did the best that they could with the situation at hand. But we had the summer to develop a sound plan. And so all of those traditional expectations that you saw throughout the school year last year up until March are going to be present this year. So we've received several questions about what the first day of school and the second day of school look like. The first day of school is this Wednesday. It is tomorrow. So we are very excited about that. We're excited to kick off the year and get moving. There are no live sessions tomorrow. Students should check their student email for anything that their teachers send out. If your student's Gmail is not working, we've asked the teachers to also send that information to the parent or guardian email, so you should be receiving it as well. So if your student doesn't see anything, please check your email that's listed in PowerSchool. And if you still aren't seeing anything, you can always email the teacher for support. We are working as fast as we can. We work with Open Schools to get student Gmail, so they are working as quickly as possible to update any new students that might need a student Gmail. The second day of school is Thursday, August 27th, and it is an odd day. So students will attend their first, third, and seventh hours as well as their fifth hour. That schedule is a little bit different than what students are used to in a typical odd day. So first hour is at 9 o'clock, 9 to 9:50. Third hour is 10 to 10:50. Seventh hour, 11 to 11:50. And then fifth hour is noon to 12:30. Again, Zoom links will be sent to student emails. So you should definitely check your email for those Zoom links to join those classes. In terms of the first day of school and what to expect, especially if you're a student on here that's listening, on Wednesday, you will receive an email from each teacher. They'll introduce themselves, they'll tell you a little bit about their class, and they'll talk to you about how to engage in the class. So whether that's a Zoom link or something that you should send to them via email, that will all be within that email they send. Again, there is no live instruction or direct meetings with staff on Wednesdays. Teachers and staff members also have meetings on that day. So again, Wednesday is fully asynchronous, where students are working on things for the class remotely. On Thursday, we do have our first day of live instruction. We'll show you the schedule in just a minute. The teachers will be introducing Canvas, but those logins and access, like I said, are coming very soon. We really intend to spend the first 2 days and really most of next week focusing on building relationships and processes. When we left in March last year, our teachers and students had the luxury of already having relationships that were built. Now we're coming into a situation where a lot of your students may not know their teachers yet. And so we really want both students and teachers to focus on building those relationships and getting to know each other to start the year. This is a picture of the schedule, and this is also posted on the website and was sent via email a few different times to both students and parents and guardians. So you can see that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday are all block days, and Wednesday is that asynchronous day. When we look at each of the days, you'll see those 50-minute time blocks for classes. We do give students a break for lunch, so 12:30 to 1, and then teachers will be logged into Zoom, available for any help that students might need between 1 and 2 p.m.
All right, thank you, Ashley. So some of the questions have been around synchronous versus asynchronous learning. So this is a little diagram for you to talk about that. So synchronous learning, we have a live instructor, attendance is taken, there's direct interaction with peers. So whether it's Zoom and they're in breakout sessions, they'll be interacting with their peers as well as the teacher, and it will be recorded for future reference. So for whatever reason, if you're not able to get there or you need to refer back to it, it will be recorded. Asynchronous learning does not happen at the same time, so it's something that's going to be recorded and sent out or through email. Independent tasks such as videos, reading, homework, etc. But it is still an essential part of the school day. So a lot of times this will be things that you will learn about that will take into the synchronous learning so that you can have discussions with your peers and teachers online. All right, and then what goes on in those Zoom links and live instruction, full names required for entrance to class. So make sure your student types their full name. Must be fully present for attendance to count, so they can't come in for a couple minutes, leave, and expect to get attendance be marked present. They must interact and participate fully, just as they would in the traditional setting. So they're going to be asked to answer questions, participate in breakout sessions and rooms with their peers. Cameras are encouraged to be on for social interaction and participation. It's not required, but it's nice for people to see you when they're interacting with you. And there are no virtual backgrounds like myself and Mr. Pierce have tonight.
So remember, for Wednesdays, everything is entirely asynchronous. Also note, during this time, staff will be remote for deep cleaning of while the building is being cleaned. In future weeks, all materials will be accessed through Canvas, but currently the material is not there. Work that is assigned on Wednesdays can be graded, but there is no attendance taken on that day. However, keep in mind that the work that is assigned on Wednesdays is expected to be completed before that next live class period.
Okay, hi everyone. So I am going to talk about student schedules. So we have received several emails about student schedules, schedule changes, concerns that people have. We understand that this is a very difficult year, that it's stressful. We all are in this together. We are working as fast as we possibly can to ensure that your student is in the correct courses. Something that I have to ask of everyone is that everyone is patient and exhibits some grace for the next couple of weeks. We are working around the clock to get schedules where they need to be. And so what I'm going to ask of everybody is just to follow a few different steps. These steps were emailed to all students and to parents and guardians as well. So with the added challenge of our virtual environment, as well as our addition of Lakers Online, we really just built the master schedule in its entirety about 2 weeks ago. And so as a result, we cannot make any schedule changes based on student preference. So let me give you an example of what that means. Some students may have selected AP Lang last year as an example, as their English class. And a student might email their counselor and say, you know, I'm concerned about taking AP Lang online. I don't want to take it anymore. That is not a change we will be able to accommodate. Students have to take the classes that they requested in the spring. I can assure you 100% that our teachers are prepared, and they are going to make sure that our students receive the same high quality instruction and help in the virtual setting as they would in person, in our traditional setting. So student schedules will only be adjusted for the following reasons. If there's a failure from a previous semester in a prerequisite course, if a student completed the course already in a previous academic year or during summer school, if a student has an incomplete schedule, they should have 7 class periods on their schedule, or if the computer placed the student in 2 classes that grant the same credit. So the example there is World History and AP World History. If there is a scheduling error based on one of those 4 reasons that I just described, students have to complete the Google form that was sent to their student Gmail. It was also sent to parents and guardians as well, but you will not be able to access it. A student has to be logged into their student Gmail only in order to access that form. So that form was sent on Monday. We're really asking that you please do not call or email. If your student filled out the form, that is exactly what we need. The emails and phone calls really just slow the process, and it's hard to get through everything on the form and email and calls. And so again, please have your student fill out that Google form if they need a schedule change. Counselors will call or email if they have any questions. So once that Google form is submitted, if something comes up that the counselors are unsure about, they will definitely call or email the student. The Google form is available through next Thursday, September 3rd. So if something comes up, please have your student fill out that Google form. If they do submit a schedule change form and the request can be made, the counselor is going to make the change. The student will not receive a confirmation email. They need to continually check PowerSchool for any updates. Please know that updates at this time can take us anywhere from a day or two all the way up until next Friday. We are working as fast as we possibly can to make sure that we have students in the correct classes, but there are a lot of variables at this point. And so we really appreciate your patience as we're working to update those student schedules. If a student submits a schedule change request form and it does not meet the 4 criteria, the counselors will not be contacting the student and the change will not be made. So any schedule change request has to fit into one of those 4 categories that I mentioned previously. And just one more thing before we get to athletics and activities, I do have to thank the counselors. They have been putting in countless hours of work to make sure that schedules are where they need to be. I understand that not everything is perfect, and to be honest with you, everything is not perfect in a traditional school year. There are always changes that need to be made. There's adjustments that need to be made. We know that, within a week, we'll have this all sorted out. And so if your student is not in the correct course, if they have a course on their schedule that's not correct, what we're asking that you do is have them attend that class until they see the change. If they're missing a class, just tell them to hang tight. They will get a class. We're starting with those first. So we're starting with missing classes first and moving on. So you should see those changes reflected on PowerSchool. And again, please have your students fill out the Google form if they need any change. Do not have them complete an email. And in addition, I just want to add one other quick thing with Lakers Online. I don't know if there's any parents on here that are involved in Lakers Online, but if you are, there was a separate Google form emailed for Lakers Online that students would need to complete. And now I am going to turn it over to Mr. Pierce.
Thank you, Mrs. Larkin. As an admin team, we always encourage our students to get involved in as many activities and athletics as they can. We know that these are essentials to a student's mental well-being and social and emotional development. And especially in times like now, we think that it's great for them to get together and be around students in a safe setting. So because of this, we intend to run all supplemental activities in a safe and appropriate manner. As you know, right now, any gatherings and rehearsals must be done outside, following appropriate guidelines and screenings and social distancing. We've been doing this for athletics and practices for the last 2 months, and it has worked well. We plan on continuing doing this with the extracurricular, co-curricular, and club activities. We always encourage our students to get involved and stay involved. When it comes to the athletic world, we are currently still in a modified phase 2 protocol. We can go to the next slide, Mr. Pace. And what this means is that every time that a student comes to practice or an event, they have to be symptom screened by a QR code and have their temperature checked daily. Teams also exchange safe competition agreements before each contest that's taking place. Now, what contests are taking place right now? Well, currently girls golf, boys tennis, and cross country are allowed to participate in contests. These are considered by the MHSAA to be the lowest risk sports. Sailing and equestrian are also active right now. Girls swimming and volleyball are practicing outdoors at this time. We're still waiting on clearance from the governor to practice and compete inside pools and gyms. As soon as the gyms and the pools are open, we plan on moving those sports inside and getting the season on in a regular fashion. Field hockey and boys soccer are allowed to practice at this time, but the governor has not approved full competition yet for this. This falls under Executive Order 160, and these sports are considered to be the moderate risk sports out there, which do involve some type of physical contact between the athletes. Football has been postponed to a possible early spring season. As of right now, we're still waiting on a schedule for this. Football is designated as a high-risk sport, and that's why the MHSAA thought that it was essential to postpone it at this time. Sideline cheer and POMs are also postponed until the winter sports season. We will continue to give updates with athletics as soon as we get more information from the MHSAA and the governor. We always want to participate in a safe manner in athletics. We are following all protocols that are required for our athletic teams to participate. And we're hoping and kind of counting on a wonderful athletic season moving forward. Thank you.
All right, so I'm back. No better time than a back to school webinar for your whole house Wi-Fi to go down and have to restart everything. But thank you to Ms. Larkin and the team for taking over on that. So I missed part of this. Just a couple things I want to reiterate before we get to phase 5 return and some closing comments. You know, that I know we've seen a couple hands being raised. We're not going to be able to take participants in with hands raised at this point in time. If you have any questions, you can email us directly. And then also to emphasize what Ms. Larkin talked about, any schedule change requests must go through the Google form. That's the only way they're going to be processed. They're time stamped and they come in order, and we can go through those in the most efficient way possible. Any other questions you can still email your counselors about. Just know that they're not going to deal with the schedule change ones via email, only through the Google form. So part of our return to learn plan is when our region moves to phase 5 of the governor's plan, we're going to return to full 5-day per week in-person instruction. Be very close to your traditional school setting. That's still not phase 6. Phase 6 is post-pandemic, where everything is as it was. So there's still going to be some restrictions and guidelines under phase 5 that's outlined in her plan. So we're going to have continued safety protocols, but we really hope that we can get to this as soon as possible. This will be at least a 2-week transition in order to get students and staff and everybody acclimated, transportation, food service, all that ready to go. And also we're going to look at the timing with marking periods and semesters. You know, if we're 9 days away from the end of a semester, we're not going to make a transition at that point in time. We'll transition if it's close at a time that makes sense. So again, we understand that in-person is the best way for most students to experience school. That's what we want. As a district, that's what we're committed to. So we really hope we get to this point as soon as possible. Our goal, while we're virtual, is to be leaders in virtual instruction. We're going to have enhanced rigor and accountability for our staff and our students. And we're really going to try and mirror that in-person experience as best as possible with live instruction, outlined and detailed support for students in ways that we did not do in the spring. With proper planning and proper training and, you know, our renewed energy for this, I really believe this is something we can pull off successfully. And then of course, we want to get back to school as safe and quickly as possible. Ms. Larkin, can you go to the next slide, please? So there's me a couple resources here. I'm going to share this slideshow as well as the recording of this, so you have this information. If you have technology issues, you're going to want to contact the Oakland School Service Desk, and you'll see contact information listed there that would include Chromebooks and hotspots and student emails. I don't know if it was mentioned earlier, student emails are in the process of being generated by Oakland Schools. So if you are new to our district, I know my own child is new to our district this year, and they hopefully in the next 24 hours or so are going to have student emails ready to be distributed out. I can't guarantee that, but I know it's in the process of happening right now. If you need social and emotional support for you or your students, there's a list of the counselors, and while we're starting the school year, this will be the alphabetic breakdown. Ms. Tompkins is our Lakers online counselor, so this will shift once we get through September. But this is our alpha breakdown for students, and then we also have a dedicated school mental health specialist, school social workers, and then, you know, a team of resources within the district to support students' social and emotional needs. Academic support is built into the daily schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Each teacher will be live on Zoom for drop-in support, or it could be scheduled support. Students can come and ask questions, get one-on-one help, you know, help with their asynchronous work, or really just, you know, get what they would typically get in that in-person setting. And then the last two, I know these are the ones we've received a lot of questions about, are Canvas and Power School. Power School was just released to everybody here in the last 24 to 36 hours. So if you're not able to create a Power School account as a new student, or you're not able to access it, the building administrative assistants can assist you. In addition to that, Canvas is almost ready. So what they're doing as the student Gmails are being generated, once they're all ready, they'll be imported to Canvas, and we can push out that information to families on how to access Canvas. All the Canvas resources are on the Classroom to Cloud District webpage. There's a link there. or you can go to the district webpage, go to the academics heading, classroom to cloud, scroll down and click the Canvas button. There's webinars, slideshows, and all the detailed information you'll need as soon as Canvas becomes available. Again, log information on those platforms are going to be emailed directly to families. So in closing, you know, this is, as I said at the beginning, before I froze, hopefully, something that is unique, something that none of us have ever anticipated that we'd have to go through in our lives. And it, you know, becomes more real when it impacts our own children, right? And so your children are our students, and we care deeply about them and the experiences that they have, their health and safety, and of course, delivering a high quality education. You know, anxiety brings out a lot of what ifs. I know I have those, you know, what if this happens, or how are we going to navigate these things? And, you know, I believe we have a solid plan. We have an extremely dedicated and hardworking group of teachers. And so we really hope that you can join us in giving this school year a chance. Right? We know there's going to be bumps in the road, but we also know that we're going to do a really good job with it. And we're going to overcome these things, and our students are going to have a good experience. They're going to take our cues from us as the adults, our teachers, our administrators, our counselors, and from you. And so, you know, again, we know there's going to be mistakes. We know there's going to be bumps. Those are things that we can obviously deal with. Feel free to reach out if you have questions or concerns, but just know that there's light on the other side, and, you know, we're all going to be better off for this. So we appreciate you. Again, reach out. I will send this out as soon as the recording is processed, and I'll also share the slideshow. And we look forward to a wonderful 2020-2021 school year.